the motorcycle world is watching something really remarkable happen. After years and years of chasing bigger numbers, heavier machines, one of the most respected names in adventure riding is making a strategic retreat.
It's a huge deal.
It is. So today, we are diving deep into the return of a true legend. The highly anticipated 2026 Honda Africa Twin 650.
And this isn't just, a new model. This is Honda acknowledging a fundamental shift in what modern adventure riders actually want.
Right.
Our source material suggests this pivot to a 650cc format. It's less about nostalgia and much more about a calculated move to dominate the fastest growing segment in the market.
Okay, let's unpack this then. I mean, this is a bold step moving down in displacement when the current Africa Twin is a very capable 1100cc machine.
Very capable.
So our mission today is to distill exactly why this downsizing is being called a bold step into a new era, and how Honda plans to blend that historic Africa Twin heritage with the practical demands of modern, lighter adventure riding.
You have to understand that reducing the engine size isn't a compromise here, it's a design philosophy. We need to look at the engineering trade-offs and the market implications to really get what this means for you, the rider who wants capability without the sheer physical intimidation of a liter-plus machine.
Let's start with that history then, because it really is the bedrock of this new bike's appeal, the Africa Twin name. It's sacred ground for a lot of people. For anyone who might be unfamiliar, where did this reputation for raw durability and, global exploration even come from?
It originated in the deepest sands and toughest landscapes on Earth. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
The Africa Twin name was cemented by Honda's success in long-distance rally racing.
We're talking Paris-Dakar.
Primarily the original Paris-Dakar rally, back in the 1980s. Those early bikes, like the XRV 650, they were built for one thing, survival. They became the very definition of reliability and exploration. They proved you could ride across the continent back with minimal maintenance.
So the legacy is built on this idea of just pure mechanical bravery.
Yeah.
A machine
that just refuses to quit. Exactly.
But that legacy was built when rally bikes were midweight. Now, modern adventure bikes are often north of 1000 cc, so why the sudden global desire to pivot back down to 650?
It's pure market dynamics and, honestly, rider fatigue. Literally. As touring bikes got bigger and heavier and more complex, they just became less fun and way more intimidating when the tarmac ended.
Yeah, you drop one of those beasts off-road and your day is over.
Exactly. The global market has realized that the sweet spot for true, versatile adventure is the midweight class.
And when we talk about that class, we are talking about some serious competition. You've got the Yamaha Tenere 700, the KTM 790 and 890 series. Honda is walking into a fight here.
They absolutely are. And the 650cc Africa Twin is their strategic weapon. For you, the listener, the real insight here is that the 650 format offers that legendary spirit, that go-anywhere ability, but, and this is crucial, it promises a machine that is lighter, easier to pick up, and just far less cumbersome in technical off-road terrain.
So if the original Africa Twin defined durability through just mechanical strength, this 2026 version is defining it through a different lens, through maybe accessibility and field serviceability.
It's a smart evolution.
Yeah, it's adapting the identity to fit the rider's real-world needs, not just some race spec.
Precisely. It's about balance, being heavy enough to be stable at highway speeds, but light enough to manage technical trails when you're standing on the pegs. The focus has clearly shifted from speed across the desert to confidence on the trail.
Okay, so let's move to the engine, the core of that promise. Reducing displacement always raises skepticism about capability, right?
Always.
The sources talk about a refined parallel twin engine. Why that configuration over, say, a V-twin or an inline-4?
Well, the parallel twin has really become the champion of this mid-weight adventure architecture. Firstly, its packaging. It allows for a much, much narrower profile than a V-twin, which is critical when you're standing up off-road.
Okay.
A narrow waist means you can grip the tank easily with your knees, control the bike better with your legs.
That makes a lot of sense. We often overlook those subtle ergonomic details that define an 8-hour day of riding. But what about the power delivery? Are we worried about highway cruising when the bike is all loaded up with gear?
See, this is where it gets interesting. Honda isn't chasing extreme horsepower figures here. They're prioritizing usable low to mid-range torque.
Which is what you actually need.
It is essential for adventure riding. When you're climbing a steep, rocky hill, you need predictable, consistent pull knot, a sudden burst of power at 8,000 RPM. We expect a tuning that emphasizes a longer stroke, which translates directly into better low-end grunt and a much smoother throttle response off-road.
That distinction is so key. Raw horsepower wins brochures, but torque gets you through the deep sand. And that usable torque philosophy, it must also tie back into efficiency and range. That's non-negotiable for true global exploration.
Absolutely. The expected tuning for efficiency is directly linked to range. Adventure riders aren't just worried about miles per gallon, they're worried about miles between fuel stations in the middle of nowhere. So we anticipate advanced fueling maps, maybe an optimization of the tank design, to make sure riders can push well over 250 miles on a single tank. And low maintenance intervals are also critical. Less complexity means less to break when you're hundreds of miles from help.
So we have a philosophical shift in size, a technical focus on reliable torque and range. Let's talk about the physical manifestation of all this. What design cues, what ergonomic features confirm this bike is meant for the dirt?
We're looking for that signature commanding presence.
Right.
A tall stance, lots of ground clearance, and long travel suspension. But you need to pay attention to the details designed for that off-road posture.
Like what?
A slim seat tank junction and robust, wide handlebars. That allows for maximum leverage and comfortable control when you're standing on the pegs, absorbing bumps with your legs.
Anyone who has spent 8 hours on a bike knows that the seat is the real battleground. Do the sources give us any indication if they've focused on fixing that classic adventure seat problem, the plank?
The word comfortable was actually used specifically in relation to the seat in the source material, which implies a focus on multi-day touring comfort, not just aggressive off-road minimalism.
That's a relief.
And beyond the rider interface, we expect classic rally influences in the chassis. Engine protection, maybe protected header pipes, and easy access to maintenance points like the air filter.
But even with the perfect posture and a robust chassis, off-road confidence in 2026 relies on smart technology. You can't just rely on the metal anymore. What modern electronics is Honda giving the rider to truly utilize that rally-bred chassis?
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, modern adventure bikes demand advanced tech, not just for connectivity, but for safety and control. The 2026 Africa Twin 650 is expected to offer a full suite, starting with ride-by-wire.
Which allows for selectable riding modes.
Exactly.
So let's talk about those modes specifically, because that's where the rubber meets the digital road. What does it mean when Honda offers a gravel mode or an off-road mode?
It means the bike changes its personality dynamically. In a standard street mode, the throttle map is sharp, traction control intervenes instantly, but you switch to gravel mode, and the throttle map softens significantly. It becomes less jumpy, preventing unwanted wheel spin.
Okay.
And crucially, the traction control intervention threshold is raised, allowing the rear wheel to slip slightly.
Which is what you need to steer the bike in loose stuff.
Exactly. You need that slip to maintain momentum.
And the most important tech aid for an adventure machine has to be the ABS. We mentioned off-road ABS tuning earlier. That's a feature a lot of riders look for when comparing against, say, the Tenere. What does that tuning actually let the rider do?
Standard road ABS prevents the wheels from locking completely, which is great on tarmac. Off-road ABS is different. It's often switchable, or it's tuned to allow the rider to lock the rear wheel while keeping ABS on the front.
Why would you want to do that?
Because locking the rear wheel on dirt or gravel allows experienced riders to pivot and steer the motorcycle using a controlled slide. Without that feature, a heavy bike on loose ground can feel just impossible to control. This system gives the rider back that capability.
So the technology becomes an enabler, not a shield. It lets the rider be braver. We also expect the digital instrument cluster, smartphone connectivity.
Yeah, of course.
The technology serves the adventure. It doesn't distract from it.
Precisely. It's all about leveraging these advanced features to increase control and confidence across all kinds of terrain without making the machine overly complex or a nightmare to maintain.
This whole package, mid-weight, focus on torque, advanced electronics, it really hints at a calculated global strategy. Let's talk market impact.
Yeah.
Why is the 650cc segment so vital for Honda's global success?
Its universal appeal is massive. The bike's virtues, reliability, fuel efficiency, accessibility, they resonate across every major motorcycle market on the planet. In parts of Asia, Africa, South America, this machine moves from being, a recreational toy to being a primary form of durable long-distance transportation. That versatility makes it arguably one of Honda's most important global models for volume sales.
And globally, this bike is positioned squarely against the Tenere 700, a bike that has been wildly successful because of its simplicity and capability. How does the Africa Twin 650 differentiate itself and set that new benchmark the sources keep referring to?
Well, the Tenere's strength is its simplicity, its relatively low-tech electronics package. Honda is leveraging that trusted Africa Twin name and offering a more premium experience.
Yeah.
They're coming in with the full suite of refined electronics, the adjustable ABS, the selectable modes, and it's all backed by their legendary engineering reputation. They're hoping to capture the rider who wants Tenere-level capability, but who also demands modern comfort and technological sophistication.
So if you're a rider looking for serious capability without compromising daily utility, this bike should be on your short list. It sounds like it suits touring riders, weekend explorers, and even daily commuters who need a machine that can genuinely do it all.
It's designed to be the definitive one bike for everything. You can commute efficiently during the week and then confidently head off the grid on the weekend. Its manageable size means it's not intimidating in heavy traffic, and its adventure features mean it's not compromised when you finally hit the trails.
Okay, so to synthesize our deep dive, the 2026 Honda Africa Twin 650 is Honda's declaration that the future of adventure riding is accessible. It's focusing on real-world usability, durable torque, and sophisticated electronics over sheer heavy horsepower.
The biggest change isn't just the engine size, it's the philosophical adaptation. This move represents a calculated strike against competitors in the midweight category, marrying that legendary reliability with the demands of the modern, less intimidated rider.
And that raises our final thought for you to consider. The original Africa Twin proved its mettle by completing the Dakar using purely mechanical strength. This 650cc version proves its mettle by making global exploration accessible and feasible for the everyday rider, relying on advanced electronics like ride-by-wire and advanced ABS to keep you safe and in control. So the question is this necessary evolution trading, that raw mechanical durability for technologically enhanced usability, the final necessary step for a true adventure legend?